We'll start out. Just got a ton of respect for Coach Boyle and his program. Again, I lived in Colorado for 4 years, was at Colorado State, had a lot of battles with those guys, so always really admired what he did, even dating back to when he was at Northern Colorado before then, and then what he's done at Colorado. And then, you always want to win for, again, as a competitor, like I just said on the radio, like if we're playing cards at home with my wife and kids, we play euchre a lot. You guys know what euchre is? Anybody? It's like an old construction game because it goes really fast, so they'd play it on the break. But we play it, and you always want to win. Obviously, I want to win every basketball game, but to have so many former players back in town, I think it was like 40, 45, and KJ did such an incredible job hosting that. There was a social last night. They were at shoot around today. They had pregame lunch with us this afternoon, and again to see their pride that they have in this place, and to hear their stories last night. And then one of the coolest things, and I don't remember the exact year. I wish I did, but it was a long time ago. I think maybe 59 or 69. But there was a set of teammates that saw each other last night, but had not seen each other since they played together. And to kind of like be a part of that reunion, and it was special, and we wanted to honor those guys with the way that we played, and again just reward so many of the people that make this place special that came way before me. Like I said, I'm just a momentary caretaker, and this is everybody else's program. But as far as the game went, just a good Big 12 basketball game. We knew that they had been a second half team. If you looked at their scores in their games, they were down big against Texas Tech at home. I want to say they were down maybe 25 in the second half and had a 3 to win the game. They got big down at Cincinnati the other night, cut it to a 2-possession game. So we knew that's who they were, and I thought our guys did a great job of, responding, not panicking, and getting just enough stops down the stretch. And ultimately rebounding was huge, and they do such a good job of drawing fouls, and they're one of the best teams in the country at getting at the foul line, and I thought for us to make as many free throws as they attempted was a big stat.
So you mentioned the alumni. How important is that as you go on and you build a program and you bring those guys in? How important is that?
Yeah, I think it's everything, honestly. And I've said this before. It's easy to label college athletics in this time period as like, man, it's strictly transactional, and like these guys, they don't care, and it's in and out. And I think that's part of, obviously I'm here to win games, but I think that's also a big part of my purpose in being here is even if like an Honor Huff or a Trayson, they're only going to be here for a year, but it's still, educating and being very intentional with still bridging the gap from the past to the present, where they feel even in a short amount of time that this is their home. And so, it's super important to me. And like I said, a lot of people worked hard to make that happen and pull it off, KJ being the big one, and just really appreciative of that.
Coach, their coach mentioned that he didn't feel they had the guards to really defend Eagle Staff. Is that something that you even saw on the scout that he maybe could explode tonight? And then secondarily, every time he has a solid game because of the up and down nature of the early in the year, he always mentions, I didn't score on this night, or I only had this many shots. Are we at a point you want him to let that go now, kind of just let that roll off your shoulders? That's happened. Now you're playing well.
Yeah, I wanted him to let it go then, but yeah, again, I think that's part of kind of what makes athletes special as well. They do have the ability to like move forward with their life, but in the back of their minds, they always, Michael Jordan probably was like the highest end of it. He would make imaginary slights. He would invent them like that this guy said something. And so, Trey's got a huge heart. I've mentioned that before. He's such a hard worker. He cares about this place. He cares about this state. And I think maybe early on you'd have to ask him. Maybe he cared too much, maybe if that's possible, but I always believed in him. His teammates always believed in him. He always believed in himself, and he did it with work. And again, I think, like a lot of cases, there may be times because Jasper initiates the offense, maybe he does get, a secondary defender or maybe even their third worst perimeter defender. And he certainly was aggressive early and kept us afloat in that first half when we were navigating foul trouble, and 22-6, 3 assists, 1 turnover, and played really good defense in 37 minutes. I mean, it's a high-level performance.
Ross, you went late into the shot clock a lot of times tonight. What makes Trey and Honor good in those possessions?
They're composed. They can get their own in different ways. Honor has the ability to use his speed to create space and obviously can shoot it with range. He didn't call bank. I asked. He did not. Bank's close. And then Trey has size, so they do it in different ways, but they're both very composed, and they're comfortable in those moments.
How much of a confidence shift or difference are you seeing in Trey compared to these last 7 games to probably the first 7 games of the season?
I just think he's being more aggressive. I think he's more comfortable. I think talked about it. He probably had the biggest adjustment of any player coming into this situation. Again, no knock on his previous situation, but there wasn't like an Honor Huff running around next to him. There wasn't a Brendan Laurier. There wasn't and being, I do think it just takes a little while to I'm going to shoot this one, but man, should I have really passed it to maybe Honor? And then you add into the defensive responsibilities that we're asking him to load. And I think he's gotten more comfortable. I think that's the biggest way to say it.
You also mentioned the rebounding side of things. How much of a process has that been over these last couple of months with him? Because he mentioned how he hadn't really done it before, but now he's starting to do it a lot more now here at WVU.
Yeah. I mean, he really. I mean, he's bought in. He bought in from day one. He bought into the defensive side of things. He bought into all the other little things besides scoring, and it was. And again, that's how you get better. You buy in, you do what your coaches ask you to do, you work really hard. He's always taking accountability. He's never again, you know how easy it is just to be like, well, it's Coach Hodge's fault or it's Coach Shaw's fault or Coach Forte. That's the easiest way, and he never did that, man. He never ran from it. He owned it. He kept working, and it's been pleasurable to see. Obviously, it helps us win, but aside from the winning, you're happy for him. You really are.
Coach, recently you discussed Honor Huff being on the ball, something at the point that you were thinking about that, working that in a little bit. Tonight it looked like at times Trayson was doing that. Mm-hmm. Just situational tonight, something you've been planning on, result of the way he was playing?
Yeah, we've done it a little more, allowing him to initiate offense, Trey. Like tonight, 24 and 2 for those guys are fast and pesky, and you can just alleviate pressure that way. And he has good size, so anytime he can initiate offense, he can get it back with maybe a little bit of a lead. So, we're still far from being like a finished product. We're still learning little stuff, even throughout these games. We haven't used Trey in the post a ton. I think he had one possession in the Kansas game where he dropped it to Harlan for and one. You saw him doing that a little more tonight. So you're still learning a lot.
What did you say to the guys when they briefly took the lead, and then what do you think has allowed you recently to be able to close games better than you did in non-conference play?
Yeah, not a whole lot. Just just kind of reinforced what we need to do and executing. We had a turnover. We kind of took a tough shot at the rim, and they're good in transition, and so like some of it was our inefficient offense leading to runouts. And again, that's as these teams evolve, and they say it like, player coach teams and player-led teams are better than coach-led teams. So we've really gotten to the point that even in those huddles, there's a lot of talk amongst themselves on what we need to do. And I didn't have to say much other than maybe a slight adjustment on a ball screen coverage or something tactical, but it didn't require like a convincing that, hey, man, we're going to be okay. Like, we've been in these, and we, I think just organically the experience of being in them enough, there's a calm and a comfort amongst the group and a connectivity that we can figure this thing out together on the floor.
You're comfortable with them kind of leading those key timeouts that maybe you wouldn't have been 3 months ago.
Yeah, well, yeah, because 3 months ago they wouldn't even know what to say. You know, again, they're looking at me like, you know, but now and they're saying the right stuff. So that's what makes me comfortable. If they were saying something dumb, you'd be like, time out. Like, just be quiet for a second. But, you know, they're speaking, you know, like I've mentioned this to my team before. So, you know, there's 13 of them and some walk-ons. You know, probably Jasper and Belo, naturally, in the beginning, they think the closest way to I think, right? Because they've been with me. And what we've tried to do is you try to get like everybody else to come this way. And now you have a lot of people thinking the same way. And we've grown in that area. We've still got to grow more in that area. But I think that's where just those experiences, and you got to go through them together. You know, that's what makes a difficult non-league games, you know. It can be difficult because you don't have that collective experience together. But, again, you're looking back now and you're like, okay, does that help you win now? You know, and that's what you hope.
I was talking about closing out the game. They went from the 4-minute mark till that very last shot. They didn't score. How good is it to just kind of slam the door on a game like that? Yeah,
that's what you got to be able to do. You know, you got to be able to get stops, and more importantly, you got to be able to finish it with rebounds. And we've been in a couple situations, the Cincinnati game, the Kansas game, and now this one where we've been able to like really anchor down on the defensive end of the floor. I thought the play of the two monster plays defensively were Lorient's block. Kind of came out of nowhere, and then you know, maybe my favorite play outside of the shot making was you know, we rotated and they tried to throw the little pocket pass, and Jasper rotated down and got a deflection, and that was just like big plays, man, when you're trying to finish a game.
How important was it to get a few easy shots, especially after the way that the game at Houston started, where you go scoreless for almost 7.5 minutes? How important was it to get a few easy shots?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, I think, again, that's probably the benefit of a mature group, you know, and again, we didn't have a lot of experience together coming in to this year, but we had a lot of college basketball experience. So it wasn't like the first time that anybody's got their tail whipped, you know, like that. You know, maybe not that bad, but even then, you know, I mean, honestly, like, you know, those guys played a lot of basketball. You played 4 years of college basketball. You're going to have that night where you're like, this was rough, you know, and there were things in that game we certainly felt like we could have done better, you know, but so to see that there was kind of no like hangover or no psychological, you know, thoughts, and again, Trey was really good early, got us off to a great start.
How important will this upcoming trip be for you guys, knowing you're unbeaten here, but yet to win away from here?
Yeah. I mean, we've done what, in my opinion, what you're supposed to do. You know, we got one of the best home court advantages in the country. It was awesome to have the students back today. They make such a big difference. The energy's incredible. I was really thankful that like the snow kind of came like last night, because early on in the week, like it looked like maybe it was going to come now, and I was a little worried about that. But it was great to have everybody back. And yeah, man, if you just look at what's going on around the league, man. It's been tough. It's been tough sledding to go on the road, and we've done what we were supposed to do. And you got 2 monster challenges in a row.
I mean, Honor mentioned actually that you kind of closed your talk with them that, hey, this is great, but we got to do it on the road. What does the team need to do in particular to get it done on the road?
Yeah, your margin for error in this league on the road, because the venues are so good, the crowds are so good, the players are so good, and the coaches are so good. It's like triple whammies. So you've got to really execute at an incredibly high level. You know, you've got to have good plans, and then you've got to have a lot of guys play well on a given night. You can't just have 1 or 2 guys play well. You got to have some like really impressive performances from some individuals, and then just the collective grit and scrap and fight that it takes we've got to continue to grow in that area.
Anything else? Coach, thank you.
Thank y'all. Y'all be safe.